Hi guys, so welcome to your second reading lesson of the week, and this reading lesson builds on yesterday's reading lesson all about Rooftoppers. So yesterday what we did was we read the opening chapter to Rooftoppers and answered some questions all about it. So it was all about the man Charles and the baby that he was looking after that he'd named Sophie, and we answered some questions just as we would do in a normal lesson. So we're on to the second day now, and just as we would do in class, what I'd like you to start off with is just on your own to do an independent reread. So I'd like you to open up the extract, which is in the folder on Teams, and just read it back to yourself this time. I know that I read through yesterday, and you may have read it yourself as well, but today, now you've had it go once, I'd just like you to reread it again just to familiarise yourself with the text. Okay, so I'll give you a chance to pause the video now, read the text, and then come back to it. Okay, so hopefully you've read the extract back through again. So what I'd like you to do first, well, obviously in class what we do is do a quick recap in pairs. Who are the characters and what happens, and in class often I say 5 key points. So what I'd like you to do just on a piece of paper is just note down what you think the 5 key points or the 5 most important things are that someone would need to know about that extract if you were to summarise it. I'll give you a chance to do that now if you just pause the video. Okay, super. So hopefully the things that you'll have took out from that are, well, we've got two characters, two main characters. We've got a character called Charles, and he looks after a baby called, that's sort of coming off the sea. Obviously something's happened where a ship seems to have mysteriously sank into the ocean or something, and this baby's wrapped up in this cello case in the paper of Beethoven's symphony, and he's taken this baby in. And it looks like he's going to try and look after this baby and make the baby feel safe, and he calls the baby Sophie. And at the end of the extract, this lady called Miss Elliot comes along from the National Childcare Agency, and she basically suggests that Charles will be incapable of looking after the baby, mainly because he's a man, which we may or may disagree with. And he stands up for himself. He says, no, I will make sure that I do, and I'm sure that I'll be capable of doing it, no matter how difficult it'll be. So that was the opening chapter. Now, today's task is to make inferences about a character's personality. Now, this is something we've done before on other extracts in the past. So what I'd like you to do is the task here. It says impression and evidence. So you need to write down an impression you have of Charles based on the extract you have read. And then you need to follow it up with specific evidence from the text as to why you have that impression of him. And I'd like you to repeat for different impressions you have of Charles. So I want sort of 4 minimum impression of Charles, really. Now what I've done to make it a little bit easier is I've come up with possible impressions, things that you might think of Charles based on the extract. And I've actually come up with 5 different options here, so you could pick 4 from there really if you wanted to. So I've gone for kind and caring. He seems kind and caring to me. Quite introverted. What introverted means is he's not very sociable. He may not have met many friends. That's one impression I have of him. He comes across quite intelligent to me, so I think he might be quite a clever person. Or well read at least. He's obviously reads a lot. It seems to me like he's got quite a good sense of humour. That's another impression I've got of him straight away, just based on the interaction between him and Miss Elliot. And then finally, I think he might be quite clumsy as well. I get that impression about him. So your task is to write down an impression you have, Charles, and then back it up with evidence. I'm going to do an example for Charles. I'll give you an example to start off with. So you need to do this and maybe 3 more. So an impression, this is my waggle that you can sort of follow as an idea, and you can use some of these ideas for your own. Just doing a different colour. Impression I have of Charles. Oh, let's change colour again. An impression I have of Charles is that he is kind and caring. I'm having no luck with these colours. So that's my impression, and I've took that from over here. Now what I have to do is back it up with evidence. So there's lots of evidence in the text that he is kind and caring. So I think this because throughout the extract he demonstrates an extraordinary level of kindness towards the baby Sophie. Okay, In the extract, so I'm referring to the text now, in the extract, comma, he takes in a baby he does not know, he doesn't know who the baby is, from the ocean and looks after it as if it were his own. Which, to be fair, I think most people would do that. To be fair, I think if you found a baby in the ocean, you would try and look after it. He also gives the baby a name, because that's one thing he does. So he names the baby, which is a kind thing to do. And at one point, he says he will replace all of the expensive furniture, or at least some of the expensive furniture, all the expensive furniture, and replace it with softer, safer furniture. Or at least he suggests he will change some of it, okay? Which I think is a very kind thing to do. Semicolon. He is clearly willing to give up a lot in order to look after this child. Okay, so these are some of the reasons I think he's a kind and caring character. Another reason, when Sophie has an accident on Hamlet, I'll put accident in inverted commas. An accident. We all know what an accident is. When Sophie has an accident on Hamlet, his book, he doesn't mind. In fact, he just smiles and says, please don't worry, we all have accidents, Sophie. So he didn't get annoyed with her, he didn't mind, he just accepted that that's what happens when you're a baby. So there's another kind trait in him. And I'm just going to finish this off with the final line. It's clear to me from this extract that Charles is a kind and caring person, and he will do everything to look after the baby, Sophie. So this was me looking back through this extract and picking out all the evidence that Charles is kind and caring. Okay, that is one example. So I've given my impression, and then I've backed it up all the way through here. I've backed it up with all the evidence that he is kind and caring, and then finally I've just put a final line to say it's clear to me that he's a kind and caring person. And what I'd like you to do is, I would like you to have a go at doing 4. You can do kind and caring as one, try a few more as well, back it up with evidence in the way I have done, and then that's you giving your impressions of Charles, and then referring to the text in terms of saying what he does and doesn't do. You don't need to directly quote from the text, as long as you reference things that happen in the text for your reasons, then that's fine. Okay, so if I was to carry on with that, I'd say another impression I have of Charles is that he is, I don't know, intelligent. I think this because, and again I'd reference the text there, probably things to do with the fact that he reads Hamlet and A Midsummer's Night's Dream and other Shakespeare, says he's a scholar, things like that. All right, so that's your task for today. Have a go at that. If you manage to get through all that, I'd be really impressed. You could actually have a go at writing an impression of Miss Elliot, what you think of Miss Elliot based on the text, and back that up with evidence as well. All right, have fun with that. I'm sure you'll do really well on it as always. All right, see you later, guys. Bye. Bye.